Disaster and disaster management. This is the our topic today. We are going to discuss about disaster is a term that is normally got confused with the term hazard. So I am going first define the hazard. Hazard, what we call a hazard. Hazard is a potential threat caused by natural factor or man-made activities or human activities that can cause serious disruption to human society or settlement. That is something that can cause or cannot. There is not a necessity in hazard to cause harm to society always. So the hazard is something that is independent of population or human settlement. But on the other hand, disaster starts when this hazard take form of serious disruption to society and a huge impact on natural uh, environment, huge impact on human settlement, huge impact on humans. That is where a phenomenon, a natural phenomenon and factor that causes, be it natural or man-made, a serious disruption to society or population is called disaster. A disaster is always has so large intensive that the population affected by it cannot cope with it with their own available resources, and this is called disaster. Hazard, can we can say hazard is a seed and disaster is a full grown tree. So if there are circumstances, that is human population, human settlements come in the way of a hazard, then this hazard take a form of disaster. We classify disaster in three forms. First, natural disaster, second is man-made disaster, and third one is complex disaster. Complex disaster is something, the disaster that is combination of natural and man-made factors. What could be the potential implication or harms with the disaster? The most implication, the most devastating effect of disaster can be in term of loss of life, loss of livelihood, environmental damage, the destruction of property, infrastructural damage, essential services damage, and social impact on humans and psychosocial impact. This could be the serious impact of a disaster. Then we are discussing the topic disaster and disaster management. Why? Because we want to know about the disaster, and so we can mitigate the impact of disaster because we cannot prevent it. And so we are going to know about the disaster management in context of our country India are basic things about the disaster management. Thinking of disaster, what we do, we first choose up an area, we do the risk assessment on, and on basis of these assessment we take some measures. That is called the preventive measures. That is called the first step of disaster management cycle, that is the prevention. And second, we do on basis of our assessment we prepare ourselves for having better capacity to cope. We develop capacity, we stockpile essential things, we plans. And third thing, when a disaster occurs we respond with our preparedness. And third thing, we give response by evacuation, by giving the essential things to affected population. And the last step in a disaster management comes as a recovery. So, I am going to just discuss some of the major points of the continuous process of disaster management by inserting just about four steps, that is we call mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. In first, we are talking about mitigation, that is by the risk assessment and early warning system, developing early warning system for disaster. Third thing is public awareness. Fourth thing is land using pattern and building codes. Okay. Second thing comes with preparedness, that is planning, developing the plan and having accumulation of resources for having the quick response, that is stockpiling of essential supplies like food, like emergency medical cares, like shelters. Yeah. And training, second thing comes in preparedness, that is training and drilling for emergency responders. Emergency responders are the people who are well prepared and respond in disasters. Okay. And third thing is evacuation planning and shelter. This is part of our preparedness, and when a disaster occurred, we are going to response with what, that is immediate action and supplying the basic needs. That what we do, search and rescue operation. Our first action is search and rescue operation. Second thing is, if population, if some peoples are got rescued, we first will have to give them emergency medical cares. Third thing, after giving them emergency medical cares, we will have to distribute them food, water, and shelter. And third thing we do in response, that is the damage assessment. And fourth part of disaster management cycle comes with recovery, that is restoring the normalcy and rebuilding. So what we remove the debris and we repair the infrastructure, we restore the essential services like electricity, water supply, etc. We reconstruct the houses and we provide livelihood support to affected population. Okay. And the most important thing, we give psychological support and mental health service to these affected population. Okay. this has been this has been the and general comprehensive uh, thinking and talk on disaster and disaster management. We will see separately most important or say most devastating, that is called disaster, in one by one. Thank you. Have a good night.